It's an objections regarding maximum reduce of pesticides. I will give the floor to the rapporteur for the objection, Joël Mélin, for 3 minutes. As we are running a bit late, I count on you to stick to the time.
Oui, merci.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm going to just talk about these 3 objections very quickly. We're talking about points 6 and 8 on 2 products that are called SDHIs, succinate dehydrogenase inhibitor fungicides that affect fungal cell respiration, but also animal cell respiration. So that could have an effect on bees. There's boscalid, peroxide, and penflufen, which could have major effects in intensive apiculture. Now, in the same way, when there is a 3rd product that is an agricultural product, it's glucofam, which inhibits potato sprouting. Now, looking at the 5th package of these, talking about these carcinogens and their effects on reproduction, we noticed that the exposure levels are quite high, even though we don't know the effects of all of these different products. We also don't know about the cocktail effects, which could be quite large. There's also multifactorial cancer that this could cause. These all have health effects, and this all goes against the precautionary principle. There's also the competition issue with Canada and their potato farming. And of course, we have potato farming in Europe, and this should be able to streamline the process here. So we hope that you will support these 3 objections. We really need to think about the precautionary principle here, and it's really not helpful to add another health element. It's really just we need the support for these 3 objections. Thank you, Chair.
Tin Schneider for the EPP. For 1 minute, if you might stick to this time.
Can you see and can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Ja, vielen Dank. Ich darf heute.
Thank you. They say that we're talking about materials here that are not even supposed to be introduced in the European market, such as Glorifam. What we want is that to set the residue level down to 0. Glorifam in the EU is not allowed to be used anymore, but there's a problem with cross-contamination when you store potatoes. There are potatoes that were treated with chloropham beforehand, and that's how you get these residues. And of course, we're not going to tear down all of the warehouses immediately. There are these transitional rules. This is now being reviewed at the moment, and we don't have what we need from the responsible member state. According to the EFSA, there's no danger to human health. For all 27 member states don't see any problem in raising this level. But we've had to destroy tons of honey as a result, and that cannot be the right choice. Penflufen is a fungicide. Its use is very restricted. As from what I've heard from our rapporteur is that they want to set the residue level down to 0 and that they're not trying to raise it. Penflufen at the time is being reviewed, and we can assume that this material will be completely banned. If we can see that there's no danger to human health for any of these three projects.
Please stick to the time, and I think your message was set across. Frédéric Ries for Renew.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Une minute, c'est court pour trois substances.
Thank you. Now you give me very little time, but when it comes to phenylene and the residues allowed in food, there is a minimum, which means a lower minimum. So we're lowering the amount as opposed to what the objectors said. Of course, there's an exception for honey products where the levels could be slightly above the detectability rate. Now, there is ongoing complementary research, but studies so far prove that it's safe for health, as well as the figures we've seen from member states experts. So we don't see why we should penalize beekeepers in Europe. Finally, chlorpropam, the EU's levels are lower than the currently detectable ones, but when it comes to apples, producers have asked us for an exemption because it takes time to clean their tools and their production line. They have followed a very strict cleaning protocol that was set in place this year, and which will be revised during the very short grace period we're granting them. So this is why I am against the 3 points I've raised. Thank you. Thank you, Alexander Forgraf for ECR.
As usually, we do not support the arguments put forward in these objections, and we reject the claims that the implementing measures do not comply with the EC regulation. Objecting to the establishment of MRLs contradict with EFSA scientific conclusions, and this begs an obvious question: why should these proposals be considered differently to those put to this Parliament in the past, which have successfully passed the scrutiny period? Hundreds of studies by EFSA and reviewed by Member States authorities demonstrate clearly that no adverse effects from SDHIs are expected on humans under the approved conditions of use. There are many discrepancies in the submitted claims, and it is also worth stressing that the EU approval process for pesticide active ingredients require that it shall have no unacceptable effect on the environment. Pollinators and bee health is therefore always considering during the risk assessment process. SDHIs have been
again, thank you. Thank you, Alexander. Sorry, but we are running really late, and I think we got the message as well. I don't have anybody on my list. Okay, I have another speaker on my list I've just received. Maria Arena for SND. Please, 1 minute, Maria.
Merci, Président. Je pensais que vous m'aviez...
Thank you. I thought you had forgotten me. So when it comes to chlorophane, yes, even though we've seen toxicological results, we would have liked the lower levels. The minimum from the Commission is does not seem to us to be a problem as long as the Commission reviews the limit in 1 year when the problems have been solved. Now, we need to look at the precautionary measures, but we don't see why we should go against the EMSA numbers. I would like to know why the Commission has decided to review the SDHI. We will at this point be against, but we will carefully follow the Commission's work on this family of products. Thank you, Maria.
To the Commission, Klaus Behrendt, as usual, for 2 minutes maximum.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, as usual. And this time I can really be short because everything I wanted to say has already been said by Ms. Schneider, Ms. Ries, Mr. Vondra, and Ms. Arena. So I concur with everything they said. Let me just underline that we are acting fully within the implementing powers, so the draft objections are wrong in claiming that we wouldn't. And also underline, as already said by Ms. Ries and Ms. Schneider, that for chlorprotham we are not increasing the MRL. The current MRL is 10 milligram per kilogram, and we propose to lower it to 0.4 milligram per kilogram in order to take account of this unavoidable cross-contamination from storage areas where untreated potatoes are stored. And we are fully committed to review this value every year on the basis of the latest monitoring data, and industry has committed to a cleaning protocol to reduce any possible remaining contamination of chlorprotham as fast as possible. As to the broader issues around the SDHI, we had a debate in the PETI committee recently about this, where I explained what is all happening with regard to the review of the substances such as boscalid. And we are preparing right now a further written information to the ENV committee following your request, Mr. Chairman, on this matter. So this will be addressed in the context of the reviews of the approvals of the substances and are not a matter for the MRL regulation at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy this moment, Mr. Behrendt. I don't know how close the next time will be. So we will vote today, actually, for on the objection, and if applicable, in the plenary in December.